HIP depends on contract renewal.
I don't play the update. I don't have the update. You have it. Wins News Time now, 11:25, and CNN has just called Pennsylvania for Joe Biden. That word just into the 1010 Wins newsroom. At this point, CNN is the only major media organization calling the state of Pennsylvania for Joe Biden. However, if that holds across other media organizations and if those results hold up, that would be enough for Biden to win the presidential election. We will keep you updated on that as we go along through the morning here on 1010 Wins. Once again, CNN has just called Pennsylvania for former Vice President Joe Biden, which would be enough to put him over the top. Stay with 1010 Wins for the latest on this developing story.
Now on 1010 Wins.
And we have now the word in from CNN. CNN has called Pennsylvania for Joe Biden, which would be enough to put him over the top for the presidency. Let's go right to the news line, and we have with us this morning analyst Robert Zimmerman. Good morning, sir. We'll go to him as soon as we get word that he's there. And why don't we go now? First of all, let's go to 1010 Wins Samantha Liebman at the election desk. Sam.
Yes, and also NBC News is also calling this election for Joe Biden. That's just after a batch of ballots from Philadelphia came out that gave 2,431 more votes to the former vice president and only 356 to President Trump. Now we see AP is also calling the election for Joe Biden. So that put Joe Biden up by over 30,000 votes in Pennsylvania, and he only needs Pennsylvania to win with its 20 electoral votes. He was at 253, and so now several news outlets calling it. It seemed that they feel that the outstanding ballots are going to be leaning towards Biden, and that Trump would not have any way of overcoming the deficit there, even with winning any other states, which the vice president is still leading in Nevada, Arizona, and Georgia as well, that were all critical. He could have won it with Arizona and Nevada alone, but now he has Pennsylvania, and he doesn't need any more. He is now being considered the 46th president. Samantha Liebman, 1010 Wins, live at the election desk.
And of course, stay with 1010 Wins for the very latest developments on this. Once again, major media organizations are calling the state of Pennsylvania for Joe Biden, which would be enough to put the Democratic former vice president over the top and give him the title of president-elect. Of course, we will keep an eye on this as we go through the day right here on 1010 Wins. Wins News Time now 11:29, and let's take a quick check of AccuWeather. Now, we have a special report coming up in just about 45 seconds here. Let's take a quick look at the forecast, and then we'll hand over to the next thing. It is going to be a very nice, sunny, warm day. 72 degrees here in the city for the high. We are also going to see warm weather continuing right into the rest of the weekend. 67 degrees right now. It is sunny. It is a very nice day on the way. Once again, if you just happen to tune in at this exact moment, the state of Pennsylvania has been called by CNN and NBC and all the other major media organizations for Joe Biden, which means that he would be the president-elect. Good morning. I'm Kathleen Marple-Kaub. Wins News Time at the Tone, 11:30.
Good morning. I'm Brian Britton. NBC News, CNN, Associated Press, CBS News, and ABC News have all called the election for former Vice President Joe Biden. Just within the last 45 seconds, those final votes coming in Pennsylvania, it was enough to push him over for the networks and the Associated Press to make that call. Let's go to ABC News now for this update on the election.
Your voice, your vote. We have an update now on the all-important state of Pennsylvania in the presidential race. Based on results we've received from election officials in Pennsylvania, ABC News can now characterize Joe Biden as the apparent winner in Pennsylvania. That win makes him the president-elect. Based on these numbers and those in other states, Joe Biden will be the next president of the United States. That just moments ago on ABC. Down in the count, the Trump campaign still sending lawyers to those battleground states. The president's legal team already filing several lawsuits as he makes unsubstantiated claims of fraud. And last night in his speech, Joe Biden again said that every vote will be counted, and he hopes to address the country again sometime today, especially with this news. Again, based on results we've received from election officials in Pennsylvania, ABC News can characterize Joe Biden as the apparent winner there. With continuing coverage, Dave Packer, ABC News.
And, of course, keep it locked to 10-10 wins at this point. Yes, we can confirm, as you just heard from ABC News, that they are calling the election for former Vice President Joe Biden. But it is a multitude of news organizations, NBC News, CNN, the Associated Press, CBS News, ABC News have all called the election for former Vice President Joe Biden. Wins News Time, 11:31. Get an update now. Traffic and transit. Take it away, Bill Powers.
Fuel spill on Route 17 overturned. Last night, Joe Biden came out, made a very brief set of remarks at the Chase Center here in Wilmington, inside the center, urging his
All righty, we are going to go to anchored coverage here of the news networks calling the race for Joe Biden. You're listening to 10-10 Wins.
Parking lot, which has been set up as a drive-in poll watch / victory / concession speech area, will be used this evening, apparently for a victory speech. Aaron?
ABC's Jim Ryan with the Biden campaign in Wilmington, Delaware. Again, based on what we're seeing, Joe Biden is on track to win the state of Pennsylvania and become the 46th president of the United States. This characterization of the race comes while President Trump is on the golf courses in Virginia. ABC News White House correspondent Karen Travers. Karen, good morning.
Good morning, Aaron. The president arrived at his golf course about an hour ago, and he tweeted this within the hour, in all caps: "I won this election by a lot." The president's legal team continuing to try and figure out a path to challenge the election results in these key battleground states. And we were talking about this last night, about how and when and whether President Trump would concede. Sources close to the president say that had not yet been discussed, but that ultimately he will give a concession speech if the legal challenges show that he just has no path forward. And now here we are today making this projection. But expect the president today and in the days going forward to not go down without fighting. He is going to continue to make these claims about irregularities in battleground states, despite no evidence of that so far, and his legal team not putting any evidence of that forward. If and when the president does give a Trump-style concession speech, Aaron, I think you can expect that the theme for him would be conceding that he lost, but not that he lost, but that the election was stolen from him.
That is the message he's been pressing. ABC News White House correspondent Karen Travers. Want to get back to the Biden campaign? ABC's Molly Nagel has been covering since the very beginning, Molly. Joe Biden began his run for the presidency after Charlottesville, and it's been a long road to get here.
He did start that run after Charlottesville, but even before that, Aaron, he has been running for president for more than 30 years, launching that first campaign back in 1987. And today, the 48 years to the day that he won his first Senate seat here in Wilmington, Delaware. He won on November 7th, 1972. So this has been a long road in politics for Joe Biden, and one that is ultimately culminating in him becoming the president-elect of the United States. It's something they had long speculated was coming since Election Day. They thought that the numbers were in their favor, but it's surely got to be an exciting day for Joe Biden after more than 30 years of trying and 3 attempts at the White House. The third time's the charm. He will be the president-elect.
And Molly, they had hoped that this would have come last night. They had plans for a big primetime address outdoors. That got delayed. When do we expect to hear from Biden today? We'll get back to ABC's
Biden
Molly
today,
Nagel.
But I can tell you I am standing in the parking lot.
We'll get back to ABC's Molly Nagel in a minute. In that parking lot in Wilmington, Delaware, there's a big stage set up, Biden-Harris signs, and we will see when we get to hear from the president-elect. Again, Joe Biden is on track to win the state of Pennsylvania and become the 46th president of the United States. Based on our characterization of the race, he will have at least 273 electoral votes. The state where he was born, putting him over the top. Let's go to Philadelphia now. ABC's Mark Remillard. Mark, how do you do it in Pennsylvania?
Yeah, that characterization coming just after Biden crossed the lead of 30,000 votes in this state. That puts him outside the half-a-point mandatory recall margin. And remember, there's still 76,000 mail-in ballots to be counted, a number of those still in Democratic strongholds. So it is expected that Biden's lead will continue to grow. We're actually waiting now for more results out of Allegheny County in western Pennsylvania. But when we talk about how Biden Biden did this. Overwhelmingly won the mail-in vote in this state. He beat Trump with independents. Looking back at 2016, Trump took independents in the state by 7 points. This time around, based on exit poll, Biden taking those by 9 points. That's a 16-point flip. And then the other big difference this time around from 2016 to 2020, he is outperforming Clinton in western Pennsylvania. And I'm not talking about just Allegheny County, where it's a Democratic stronghold. We're talking about Trump country. Westmoreland, right near Allegheny County. In 2016, Clinton took 32.5% of the vote. This time around, Biden took 35, a 2.5 point increase. Similar story in Washington County, Butler County. These are Trump's strongholds. And while Trump also outperformed his numbers in 2016, they're by less of a margin than what Biden outperformed Clinton. So you're seeing that. And then one other place to mention, I think, Erie, northwestern corner of Pennsylvania, that flipped. In 2016, Trump took that county. This time, Biden.
ABC's Mark Remillard with us from Philadelphia. The numbers are still coming in, but ABC News can characterize Joe Biden as the apparent winner in Pennsylvania, a win that makes him president-elect. Based on these numbers and those in other states, Joe Biden is going to be the next president of the United States. I'm Aaron Katersky. You're listening to live coverage from ABC News.